everybody, and welcome to Dream Again, which is finally saying yes to all that is inside of you. Hello, everybody. My name is Tishonna Hicks. Once again, we are cranking on this series. It doesn't take a superstar, it simply takes you. And the reason why I'm so excited about it, although it's nearing an end, we just have a couple weeks left, is because this is what I'm going through in this season of my life. So while I'm encouraging you, I'm encouraging myself. While I'm helping you, I'm helping myself. And when I say we're in this together, we're in this thing together. So one of the things that we're not so willing to admit, and some of us don't even realize that we're doing it, is that we often compare ourselves to others. It's not like we raise our hands and say, ooh, this is me, but we all do it. Because let's face it, if comparison wasn't even in the factor, several of us would be content with what we have in our life and where we're at in our life. But we all do it. We're all guilty of it. When we look at a person or a group of people and we're just in awe and we say, oh my gosh, wow, they have this house and they have that social network and they have this level of prestige and they have that degree and they have this talent and that skill and this job and that charisma. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. This eventually causes us to say, and a lot of times it's subconsciously, but we say, wow, they are so successful. They are so amazing. They have it all together. So then what we do is, instead of appreciating where we're at in our lives and what we're doing in our phase of life, is we compare ourselves to others and we say, oh, wow, like they have it all together. I don't even have half of what they have. But who really says that they have it all together, right? So what happens is we wind up placing their level of success as the standard for our lives. But let me first say this, there's nothing wrong with wanting things that other people have. We all want to have nice cars. We all want nice homes. We all want safe communities. We all want to be promoted within our jobs. But where we flaw is we don't want those things because we made a list and we determined this is what I want for myself in my life right now. We instead want it, if we dig really deep and we're honest with ourselves and we ask ourselves why, is because society says it's what we should have. And I found myself dealing with this about 8 years ago when I began to work for my current company. And I would encounter accomplished men and women who were pretty high up in the company who seemed to just have these amazing leadership skills. They had the charisma that I talked about. And they were able to articulate this grand vision for the company, and immediately it would compel people to action. And what I found myself doing at a young age was I began to mimic their path to get to where they were, instead of going my own path and getting to where I was supposed to be. And I struggled even at my former church. I came across people my own age who had these fancy homes and cars, and here I am just starting out in my career. I didn't have any of that. So I put pressure on myself to try to get those things. And even within my marriage, I would witness these couples who would wake up together early in the morning and they would go for these morning jogs and have breakfast in bed. And I would try to do the same thing with my husband. Well, first of all, my husband's not an early bird, so that didn't work. And I'm such a clean freak that I don't want any food to fall on my white linens in my bed. So I was trying to make these things work for myself that worked for other people. And it caused me to get stressed out. It caused me to complain all the time. I was stretched too thin. I was exhausted. I was doing way too much. And I put too much pressure on myself. And I didn't stop to check, even with myself, to make sure, Tishonna, is this really what you want? Is this really what you want? And because of that, my world came crashing down. And I had to take a step back because I felt like people were ahead of me. And I had to say, Tishonna, just stop. What are you doing? Like, what are your priorities? What is most important to you in this season? And my list then is the same list that I have now, which is faith, family, and bettering myself to be the best for my career and other people. So I made this box around those things, this hard-coded box around those things. Anything outside that box was secondary. In that box was what I could handle as my priorities and what I wanted as my priorities. In this way, even now, I don't feel like I'm further behind anyone because I define my standards for my life, not the standards of others for my life. So now I can look at someone who can rub their stomach, do the cartwheels, chew gum, sing, cook dinner all at the same time and say, wow, that is awesome. You are incredible. Kudos to you, and sincerely mean it. Because that's in their priority box. That's not in my priority box. I don't have to be insecure or feel inadequate because I define my priorities and what's important to me. I don't have to be jealous and criticize somebody. Oh, look what he's doing. Oh, look what she's doing. Did you see that? Did you hear that? I don't have to do that because I define my priorities and what's important to me. And the only person that I compare myself to is the person that I was yesterday, so that I can become better than that person to reach my goals. And if I do this, then I know that I will get to where I'm trying to go. I don't have to look to the left. I don't have to look to the right to see what other people are doing or to see where society says I should be, because if I do that, then that just slows me down. I keep looking forward. I move at the pace that God has set for me. So like for instance, my dream house that I long for turned into staying in our cozy small home to get out of debt. Family first. My dream car I long for turned into being content with my company car, and which my gas is paid for, which insurance is paid for. My promotions that I long for turn into being content with my current job, my role, because it provides me more time with my family. Notice please that I said I was content and am content, that I'm not settling. And I can see some of you saying, so what are you trying to tell me, to settle, to get less than what I deserve? And no, absolutely not. I'm not telling you that. But sometimes what you want doesn't mean you can't have it. It just means it may not be a priority in this season, but it's to be a priority in a different later season of your life. Which leads me to the next point, which is as we grow, priorities are going to change. So when they do, we must adjust accordingly. So when you create your box of priorities, that's where the majority of your energy should be and spent, and what your life can handle in that time. So if you look at someone and you long for what they have, you have to check yourself, because even if you attempted to add what you see other people having into your box, it wouldn't fit. And if you try to fit it, you wouldn't have enough energy to apply to it, because remember, you define your box and what you can handle in this season in your life. So my question for you is, what's in your box? What should your focus, priorities be in this season of your life? When you focus on what's in your box, giving those things all of your energy, you are no further behind or ahead of anybody else. We will find ourselves where we should be and need to be because we are focused on the things that we defined, which were inspired and led by the Lord. Now listen, we all have a box, and it's how we manage what's inside of that box that determines our growth and movement to get to the next level. I'm not looking at this person and trying to take what is in her box and put it in mine. I'm not looking to this person and trying to take what's in his box and put it in mine, because it's not going to fit. It doesn't belong. I didn't define those things for myself. So I take what I defined, I apply them to my life, and I know that if I do that and give those things all that I got, I'm going to get to where I'm trying to go. We are no further ahead, we're no further behind than anyone else. We're where we need to be. So thank you so much, you guys, for joining me, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!